Previously on Kirsche.
Trying to demean the way the people look who are exposing this kind of child abuse cover-up says more about you and how you take the news seriously than it says about the podcaster people. That's insane.
Unfortunately, the school district presented itself as a collection of Soviet-era thugs with plenty to hide.
I mean, that's basically all of our educational institutions at this point. You know, they're just Marxist thugs trying to shout people down so you can't get in there and protect the children anymore. Right? Like, these podcast guys, they had this police officer dude on to expose what was going on, and now this has created like a waterfall effect. But like, it's really good that this is actually having a ton of follow through and it's not being isolated. Let's go, buddy. Let's go.
We just go straight into this one, Mr. Cody. If you want to
go straight in,
off,
baby.
Mr. Cody, of why this real quick update video for everyone. To people watching right now, by the way, this is
Wolfie Wings, thank you for the
thing.
17-month resub. Thank you.
Streaming to each other instead of in person, and there's reasons behind that. We can't just fly Rich down because the new stuff that has came out. But Cody, if you want to introduce,
you could have him on a monitor, right? You know, he's a flesh person, not a VTuber, but you could put him on a monitor. That's possible. I think I'm gonna put the playback speed just like a little bit up to try and let's see if I can still understand.
Get this going.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unsubscribed Podcast. I'm joined today by Angry Cops, the Fat Electrician, Eli Double Tap, Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donut Operator. We are here today because our friend Angry Cops has some updates about the whole Buffalo school system situation.
I can't listen to this at super speed. I'm sorry, chat.
Oh.
Yeah, we see that.
Relatable. He just like me, for real, for real.
Disparage me is far more important than looking out for the children of Buffalo. So, how dare I even go on your podcast?
And how dare you expose us for not reporting crimes against children? You're the bad guy. You're creating drama.
How dare we drink? How dare we drink?
Oh yeah, I should move the banner. You're right. Thank you, chat.
Hashtag absolutely foul.
Listen, I heard you burp, which means you're not allowed to protect children.
That makes sense.
I'm glad they made the same joke I did.
So ridiculous. So fucking ridiculous.
I love how their tone has changed as it becomes apparent that you were A, correct, and B, they get pushback from everybody involved of like, I don't care that he had empty cans near him and he burped at one point while he's trying to expose corruption and endangering kids.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is the
so
wild.
much for a rocky past.
It's wild. That's the way to downplay it.
That's my favorite part of the entire thing. They're like, this detective has a rocky past, and he's accusing the Buffalo public school system. So you guys want to hear about the rocky past of the Buffalo public school systems?
Fucking do it.
I've covered every fucking scandal they've had since 1970.
Yeah, I also like the weaponized autism shirt, man.
Brief overviews.
Well, I know what today we're going to talk about.
Yeah, today we're talking about the Buffalo school system.
Yeah, before we get into that, that is the one thing. The main thing is, Rich, you have something we will tie in wherever it falls. We'll go through this linearly of how everything is unfolding. Rich got hit with a big thing, right?
Yeah, I now have evidence that I can share, like that I don't have to sit on and wait. I have evidence that I can share that has to do with one of my investigations that's closed that I got just the other day. That it's gonna make me look as like I know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
wild! You were right. Huh? You weren't making shit up. Huh?
Hold on, time out. I'm not like a lawyer or anything, but does the testimony of an active serving SVU detective in regards to the area that he does his fucking job in count as evidence to begin with?
Can buy the shirt and all the profit goes to help autistic kids to summer camp.
Matter expert that could be used in court, yeah. Oh, of like the cases that you've worked on that you just gave your testimony about and they still fucking called shit? It's okay though, because now we have like concrete documented evidence.
And really...
Right?
Rich, what is your job? One more time, just so it is very clear of what you do. And it's not a random guy on the internet or the influencer.
Yeah. So I am currently a detective in the Buffalo Police Department's Special Victims Unit, which deals with assaults on children, domestic violence, and things of that nature.
A professional.
When I'm not on YouTube, yeah.
Well, hold on. He burps, though.
Shit, I forgot. Yeah, we recorded that.
How dare he? What
If
a
I was
disgusting
parent
person.
And I had my kid in the Buffalo public school system, I don't really think I would give a fuck about the empty White Claw can.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
just
much.
Me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're going to be a horrible parent, Brandon, per Channel 7 News. So, poor
But what
Ed.
about his decorum?
Poor Ed is just getting lamb basted for for people who don't know. Ed, who is actually he's a good journalist. I enjoyed watching his stuff because he holds people to accountable when he questions them. He doesn't just let them give him some BS answer. Made the mistake of starting his story about finding out about this by saying, "Oh, the Unsub podcast is gross. It's a bunch of dudes drinking, burping, and being quote absolutely foul." And then he goes,
It reminds me of the way people talk about me. It's like, oh, this fucking whore. I get it. I understand what they're fucking dealing with here, dude. I was like, how about instead of, insulting my surroundings or what I sound like, you actually listen to the words coming out of my mouth, you dumb cunt.
No, but then, then the detective started talking about things that, were concerning.
Link to the shirt. Thank you.
Oh, no. You just made the worst introduction to the unsub community
I'll
you
paste
could have
the
ever
link
made.
as well.
And now everybody in the
There's
unsub
there's the link to the
community is
autism
not
shirt.
letting him skate and being like, the first thing you cared about and talked about in the story was booze, burps, and being foul. You owe us an apology. And then you guys clipped it and we all shared it.
Wait.
And he's like doubling down on it now, saying, no. I was talking about other stuff too. And Nick was brilliant. He goes, "Oh, isn't that crazy how we brought up a small portion of something that happened in your career, and that's all we're focusing on?"
Armando, thank you for raid. Welcome, Raiders.
Kind of like the shit you do to Rich, doesn't it?
It's like, oh, it was out of context. I'm like, no, I watched the clip. It's just what you fucking said to open it up. That's directly what you said.
Yep.
We played like the untouched minute and a half of him talking. We didn't cut it out of anything.
Yeah, we didn't edit it. It wasn't like a little 5-second snippet. It was just his entire introduction to the segment was talking about how foul we are.
Which is becoming a t-shirt.
Obviously.
The guys at
Monetize
Bunker.
your haters, chat.
They're in the process of making an absolutely foul t-shirt.
Rich, that is your deplorables.
The deplorables is really good. Well, Nick, do you want to get started with the you probably predates. We have a quick update, or what we can do, Rich, do a quick, hey, here's like a 3 to 5 minute segment to catch everyone up if they're just tuning into this.
Sure.
Catch me up.
If everybody's tuning into this for the first time and they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, because several weeks ago I went on your podcast, the Unsubscribed podcast, which I'm a regular on because we're all boys, and I felt like that was the appropriate opportunity to talk about how the Buffalo Public Schools has been intentionally misreporting or underreporting and obstructing law enforcement investigations into child abuse and assault against children. It got a lot of attention right off the rip, and a lot of people critiqued it and said, hey, we're uncultured and foul, and questioned why I would go on a lame, dumb podcast and even talk about such a serious topic. And obviously my reasoning and my response to that is because I trust you guys. I love you all. You guys would allow me to talk like that. And because we're tight, and I asked you if I could just steal the spotlight for a second and talk about something that was weighing on my mind, you let me. And the thing that sent me over the edge, that created and started all of this, wasn't just my several years in the Special Victims Unit and the years prior and hearing about these issues for years and years and years with the Buffalo Public Schools. The straw that broke the camel's back is a recent ongoing investigation where 2 kids were nearly abducted. It was an attempted abduction of 2 kids at an elementary school, and the school had failed to notify one of the kids' parents that the child was a part of an attempted abduction. And then the school deleted the video of the attempted abduction. And then only after somebody within the school had the wherewithal to save a copy of it, I don't know how they did it, but they saved a copy of it.
Which is insane. Like, why would you delete this video? Why would you try to cover this up? And thank fucking God someone there had some kind of morals to make a copy of it before it was deleted. That is just an insane thing to fucking hear, dude. Why would you do that?
Somehow. They then gave it to the district attorney's office, and only then, when the district attorney got that recording, did they see that there was a second victim. And I was like, okay, cool. If this is what's going on, then I'm done. And somebody has to know, and a change needs to be made now, because this is egregious. And since then, the news has decided, for the first couple days, decided to focus on me instead of the children. And when I say focus on me, they would try to bring up, or they would bring up, my past with internal affairs investigations and investigations with the AG's office. They say he's had numerous investigations, which is fine. I can be investigated 1 million times for every single complaint that anybody's put on me, and I should be, to make sure I'm not a bad cop. What they
That's actually a good point. If there is a complaint, the investigation should be happening. That's a good point that he makes, because it shows that they're not ignoring complaints or trying to like push things under the rug.
Talk about is that at the end of all these investigations, the only thing that they showed, including the AG's office, was that I was too rude when I called a robbery suspect for an armed robbery fat boy, and that I got in an on-duty accident in a vehicle. Those are the only two things I was found, like, that
he's getting dirty smear merchant. They're having to be like, ooh, he's had investigations. Why are we listening to someone like this? What authority does he have? They're not saying what the investigations are. They're not saying like how, mundane they were. They weren't talking about the situation around it. You cannot hate journalists enough. You cannot hate these people in positions of power enough. He said meany words. Actually fucking ridiculous, man. Actually fucking ridiculous.
Did incorrectly. So that brings us to our autism army, who decided to flood the gates with, thank God,
I like
positive
autism army
comments about me, and the local media trying to take away the spotlight from the incidents that I'm talking about in the Buffalo Public Schools, trying to cover up sexual assaults and other things in their schools, and trying to make me the center of it. So everybody called them out and literally changed headlines, which I think, Nick, you posted on, where somebody, I think it was a Channel 7 news article, was like, it started off with like, the first paragraph was me having a rocky past, being controversial, and internal affairs investigations. And then within 2 days, that entire portion of the paragraph was gone. And that was about from every news article too. And all it was Special Victims Unit detective. All of a sudden, all of my shit was gone, thank God. And they started focusing on the real issue, which is the children.
And
that's fucking insane. That like this guy brought to light covering up child crimes at a school, and the first thing they did was like, oh, instead of investigating what he's talking about or giving it any credence, let's just attack his character. Let's just make him sound like a bad guy, and then maybe this will all go away, because then people will focus on him instead of on us. What fucking disgusting little cretins, dude. I hate it. They all needed to be pressured to do their jobs. It's disgusting, man. It's actually disgusting.
It was because the community stepped up and held them accountable.
Isn't that crazy how they question why on earth you would go to a podcast and not the news outlets, and then they immediately show you why you were justified in going on our podcast?
That's actually a really good point. I was like, oh, why would he talk about this on a podcast instead of coming to the news? I don't know, because the first thing that you did when you found out about what he talked about on a podcast was slander him and not take him seriously? Why the fuck would he go to you? You would have continued covering it up. What the fuck?
Berating you and focusing on you, and then you actually went in at their request and filmed a 20 to 30 minute interview, and then they only posted 7 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Whereas you get to come on here and talk for 37 minutes uninterrupted the entire time and get the full fucking story out. That's crazy.
I'm confused as why they didn't even put the 27 minutes that we recorded up on their YouTube channel.
True.
Like, all of their videos get like 800 views on YouTube. So who cares if you put up the entire unedited version on YouTube? You would get more views.
It's the line. Like, one of the crazy things is Cody talks about it. I mean, we've all talked about it, but it is not trusting legacy media, the news. And then you get to see how they discredited you with that. It's like, hey, let's focus on his quote unquote rocky past, but then just outright lie. The one that was wild is they said you headbutted a children in the face, and there was a 17-year-old that was like trying to pull somebody off a fucking police officer.
Anonymous sources on Reddit say that this grown man police officer detective headbutted children. You know what they say about anonymous sources on Reddit? They're always fucking right.
No, that was different. That was an off-duty fight with drug dealers.
Yeah, and they said children.
Yeah, they tried to say children. That kid's been arrested, like, I say kid, he's younger than me, but he was 17. He was selling dope outside my friend's house in a different town, and I confronted him about it, and then he swung at me, and I headbutted him in the mouth. And then we called the police. They showed up. They ended up tasing and arresting one of the dummies that was a part of their little gang. And since then, like, that dude that I got in a fight with has been arrested like numerous times for like breaking into people's cars and dope and just being an overall turd.
Yeah.
The smear merchant's probably over there like, actually, police officers aren't even people. So, like, if they attack you, you should be letting it happen. The fact that you headbutted him back is actually both racist and you should be placed on a leave. He didn't want to say dummies. Oh, you know.
I saw the news recently brought up the thing, too, about that dipshit that was hitting cars with a skateboard and you held him down until cops got there. They brought it up again. They were like, held down a black man having a mental crisis.
Oh my God.
Hilarious, because in the actual video, like, you're just holding him down. You're like, he's fine. The guy on the ground's like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, he says, I've been waiting for this all day. Because what the news doesn't put out there.
Is this what we have to do now? Like, when you're holding down, like, when you're a white detective or a white cop holding down a black perpetrator, you have to be like, all right, I need to make sure that you're okay. Can you look at the cameras and can you say that everything is fine right now? I need you to make sure that, you know, the media is not going to run wild with the story and say that there's like crazy brutality. I need you to say this prepared statement. Can you read these 3 paragraphs into the camera, please, while we wait on the other officers to arrive? What the fuck this is just as insane as like when California had those like consent papers where if you wanted to fuck someone, you had to like pull out this consent paper and get them to sign it. Oh my God.
Is that there were already 7 911 calls about him, that he was flashing his dick to people crossing the street and trying to hit cars and people with his skateboard before I showed up. And then the police went there, and because there was no complainant to be like, yeah, that's the guy, I want him arrested for flashing me and trying to hit me, they were like, hey, you're the guy that's causing an issue, you need to settle down. They had a mental health counselor with them who deemed him to be sane and fine, and they didn't need to put him into, you know, the loony bin for the day to get him checked out. And they left. And then 3 minutes later, I showed up. And then 3 minutes later, he motherfucked me and then tried to hit my truck with his skateboard, and then we scuffled. And then that was it.
It's a shame that we have to even have this segment before.
It is. It really is.
Period. It is. This shouldn't.
It's always obnoxious when you have to correct misinformation put out by smear merchants who believe they have a larger platform than they do because they just want to make you look like a bad person. And it's like, it's a shame that they have to address any of this before getting into things that matter about crimes against children not being reported. Like, I'm sure people who are like trying to slander them are like, oh, look at them coping and seething. But it's like, no, it's just obnoxious. Any normal human would find this obnoxious.
It have to be discussed to show it's like, hey, this is trustworthy. The discrediting, if you're doing that and you're watching this, or that's your first reaction to be like, well, we just got to discredit that police officer. Fuck. We don't care about the kids, anything. First, let's get this guy. Let's knock him down a peg, and then we'll focus on that. And we have to have this segment just for that.
It's disgusting, dude.
It's petty jealousy too, because the local media is upset you didn't go to them. You went to a podcast instead, and they're like, well, do we deserve to break this story? We're the real journalists. They do really think that way. Like, I experienced it myself, like with campaign stuff and whatnot. But the thing is, you actually wanted it to get fucking views, which is why you went to our podcast and not the local news station that A, was going to attack you and berate you anyway, but B, nobody fucking watches that anymore.
I didn't want to go somewhere where, like you said, the local news is just going to attack me. And
I also want to say I like how all of these guys had like gamer lighting, but whenever they switch to the detective guy, he's got like the detective lighting. Like, if somebody pulled up this still, I'd be like, oh, this is from like a cop show, right? Like,
me look dumb, and 20,000 people might see it at most, and the most attention it's going to actually get is, I don't know, somebody from the school saying, "We'll look into it," and then it not
completely
being
swept under the rug, yeah,
forever. Like I was past that point. Like I said, that story that broke the straw that broke the camel's back, the one with the guy breaking into the school trying to steal the 2 kids. Like, I was like, no. Change is going to happen now. Change is going to happen right now.
And I'm glad he thinks that way, because again, it's insane that the school people not only didn't report it, but they tried to delete the video of it. Like, who are you trying to protect, and fucking why? Like, I have questions.
But we still appreciate you coming out, being emotional with us, and feeling comfortable enough to have that discussion, because that was like, it speaks volumes to who you are, and then also the guys you have surrounded yourself with, and that the brotherhood we have formed. That's what I love most about all like this group of boys is, man, we're all comfortable around each other, and we're fucking truthful to each other. We don't pull punches, and we are not trying to hide anything. So again, brother, thank you so much for talking that way with us and ruining the after show.
Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Nicholas, do you want to bring us up to speed on the sins of the Buffalo School District and how the local media has decided to not talk about that at all until Channel 2 came around and decided to?
Just for the sake of time, we're not even going to get into the 70s through the 90s, because those are a complete shit show where almost everything went unreported. And
when he says 70s through the 90s, does he mean this has been going on for fucking decades? Hold on, wait a minute.
The reason we know about the majority of them now are because people are filing civil suits after the fact due to new legislation. I believe it's the Safe Children's Act, which basically said there is no statute of limitations for civil suits in regards to assaults. So there's been a bunch of stuff that has come out from that era, but we're going to skip past that. We'll get right into like 2019. There was a high school technology teacher caught with illicit child material all over his computer. He is now in federal prison. In 2019 again, another English teacher from the area was caught and convicted for growing marijuana, trafficking marijuana, having possession of illegal firearms, and distributing to minors.
I was gonna say I don't really care about someone growing their own pot, right? But like, if he's bringing that to school and he's selling it to the kid, that's fucked up. You don't do that. You don't do that shit. That's fucked up.
So that was great. 2022. We've got Gregory Johnson, position, principal, accused of ongoing physical and sexual abuse of a student during the school year and field trips. The outcome, there has been no criminal charges filed as in 2025, but there is a civil suit that is filed.
A civil suit? No charges? What is happening here?
2022, failure to report abuse of a high school counselor. This is actually the case that Rich talked about, I believe.
Failure to report by a high school counselor?
Yes.
Not in 2022. Mine's 2024.
What the fuck?
2022, a student reported...
It happens so often that they're getting, like, dates mixed up. He's like, no, that's not the one I talked about. Mine was from 2 years later. Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Being physically abused by her father multiple times, even showing video evidence. Yes, that's... Sorry, the date's wrong on that one.
That's all right.
We've got the Shane Cronin incident, which is also what we talked about. That is the man that attempted to kidnap 2 children. And then 2024, we have a music teacher in Buffalo Public School that was attempting to meet up with a 13-year-old girl for sexual acts, but it was actually an undercover sting operation.
Jesus Christ.
2025, a teacher accidentally gave THC-infused gummies to 2 students that landed them in the hospital.
I don't think it was accidental.
A couple of the current cases that Buffalo School District has going on. And then we can get into the broader topic, and this is actually due to reporters doing their fucking job after they got called out repeatedly. This information was...
Imagine reporters doing their fucking jobs. I feel like we don't need reporters on the scene. I feel like we need those guys in my chat earlier who were cutting down trees. You know, they probably have access to wood chippers, right? I feel like we should get them on the case here, actually.
Brought to light by one of, in my opinion, two good reporters in Buffalo that's actually doing investigative journalism. So this is from Nate Benson. And he filed FOIA requests with the BPD to get information on the stats of how many times the police department is called. Between September of 2021 and current time, Buffalo Police Department has had to respond to 17,772 calls.
Yeah, we read that yesterday. That's insane, dude. It was like 14 calls a day based on those numbers. Like, it was ridiculous.
We've got 880 times that ambulances were required. We've got a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of threats, larceny, theft, juvenile trouble, lost property. More concerning stats, we've got 881 fights, 176 assaults. We've got 162 incidences of missing persons under the age of 12. We've got 126 assault incidences. And the most concerning of all of this is because when Rich came on the original podcast, he said that the school has some level of influence over school resource officers, SROs, and the school is using that influence to get them to not file things appropriately or bury the cases. Out of those 17,772 police calls, 54% of them are listed under other, miscellaneous, or direct patrol. Direct patrol means it was just the SRO on site that responded. There's no further elaboration as to what 54% of those 7,000 calls were relating to. So assuming that it's just proportional, the amount of assaults would be double, if not more.
Yeah, probably way more.
And everything else. So that goes right in line with everything Rich said with things are not getting reported appropriately.
What the fuck? 52%?
That is like the correct reaction.
Of the 17,000 are basically just lumped together under the miscellaneous category, and they have absolutely no idea what the incidents were even pertaining to. And I believe the head of the BPD, the chief, was asked about it by the news and said he wasn't familiar with the stats and needed to look into it more.
Rich, this actually takes. I was going to say,
I'm not familiar with the stats. I need some time to make a response that doesn't make me look bad.
Quick, it actually ties in kind of with what Rich has with what you got presented a little bit. Brandon, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, if I may, be so bold. It sounds like Buffalo Public Schools have a rocky past.
To put it mildly.
Say that.
Bro, might it be controversial?
Maybe.
These are the teachers who care or claim to care about your kids too. They're just like, oh, we care. We have to protect them. That's why parents can't know what's going on at school. Why would you ever want parents to know what's happening at the school their kids are going to? You know, that might cause some issues with all the weird shit we're doing.
I would say that would sound pretty controversial. Yeah, but enough about your rocky past. Let's talk about your rocky future.
Yeah, it's gonna be rocky going forward. Cody, let me know if you ran into any of this, so you can echo it, because I feel like this is a nationwide thing. Like, I think that's why one of the reasons why the video got a lot of attention is a lot of people working around schools or closely with schools have seen this happen, you know, across the states. So when it comes to those 54% of calls that go under miscellaneous or information only, when I say hiding a call or killing a case, right, that could mean a couple of different things. And we'll talk about hiding a call or burying it, right? If I have a sexual assault between two children at the...
Those teachers better hope they never get caught burping. Yeah, I might hide child sex crimes, but at least I don't burp on a podcast.
School. What the school will do sometimes is they'll call it in and make it information only or juvenile trouble, right? So these things do not elicit an investigation. There's no crime in information only or juvenile trouble. They're basically what they say they are. So in an information only, if Nick and I got in a verbal argument and we're neighbors, we don't get along, I might even say that he like pushes my garbage can over 5 feet into my other neighbor's yard because he doesn't like me. I'll call up 911. I'll get a report done. It'll be information only. The information will be that I don't get along with my neighbor and he keeps moving my garbage can. It's really just a way.
Always keep receipts, chat. You want to always keep receipts, because if that garbage can guy ever escalates to like throwing rocks through your windows, you have a set pattern of behavior. Always keep them receipts.
To keep historical track of an issue that somebody might have. Hey, I just want this on paper just to show a history of this type of action, right? There's no criminal aspect to it. There's no investigation. So what the schools will do is they'll have information brought in by a student, we'll say, who says, my friend or myself happens to be assaulted, right? They're reporting for themselves or reporting for one of their friends. And the school will take it. And for some reason, and I don't know why, they're worried that it's going to be labeled as another rape in their school, even if it's just it didn't happen here. I'm just telling you because you're my teacher and I trust you. Could have happened at home, right? And they're bearing it under information only. So then no investigation goes through it. Hey, Janie said that she was touched, but it happened at home. We don't want the stigmatism of another call being here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it information only and then fill it out, case closed. Hey, this person says that they were touched. We don't no further information, case closed. Now, the only way that we can find that on BPD is if I search information only at that address, which never happens. Why would I search information only? There's no criminal aspect to it. There's no investigation needed.
Yeah.
And that's how they bury it.
When I was a police officer.
That seems like really nefarious, dude. Like, especially for something that serious. Like, even if you don't want the backlash of like another call at your school district, like that should still be reported correctly. Like, how disgusting of a person do you have to be that you're going to put like the reputation of your school over the actual experiences of a child that's going to harm them for life? And in addition to that, wouldn't it look better for you if you're like, hey, this child came to us and confided in us and told us something that's happening to them at home, and we're being the good people by reporting it? Like, I don't, what the fuck? Like, what? I'm actually just like at a loss for fucking words here. There's so much of like trying to protect reputation instead of doing the right thing, like everywhere in the world, that it just boggles my mind. They're government federal workers. What do you think, Kirsche? I think that government federal workers don't deserve human rights.
If you go to the school, crime actually happened, you fill out the criminal report, and then it goes up the chain of command. The people above you are going to look at it. But as Rich said, information only reports, it just gets buried in the computer unless you want to go search for it.
So the big hidden treasure here, to whoever wants to find it, is literally going to be going through those 5,400 different cases and then looking at the narrative and saying, all right, what did the police officer write down, or what did the school tell the police officer here? And in one of my cases that I currently have, that I can't get into because I'm looking into it, but what I currently have is I have one of those where it's an where it's an information only, but the narrative states a sexual assault. And I'm investigating that currently. This is
happening around the world. Look up the UK grooming gangs. Imagine being in my chat and thinking I don't know about the UK grooming gangs. Holy shit. That stuff is like another level of disgusting, because they're not just sweeping it under the rug when it comes to the grooming gangs. They're also like letting off all of the perpetrators. Like, they either have no repercussions or they get like fucking community service. Like, what does it say when like you sexually assault a child and then they tell you like, oh yeah, go do like several weeks of community service? I don't want to say a number because I know I'm gonna get taken out of context and people will be like, oh, Kirsche said 12 weeks of community service when it was really 16. What a white supremacist! And I was so fucking, holy shit, dude. I'm fucking angry. I'm angry listening to this shit. It makes me mad, dude.
Ongoing. I literally have in my possession that I'm investigating now, an ongoing investigation that is exactly what I stated. Information only, not reported to SVU, unintentionally, accidentally discovered, and then given to me because we're like, why is this inappropriately labeled? Otherwise, we never would have saw it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, some poor kid that's the victim, potentially, because the investigation's ongoing, isn't getting any assistance. Now they're getting assistance, but that's only because we looked through it and found it.
And that's something that I saw a lot of people reaching out there like, this isn't just Buffalo public schools. I don't know why you guys are making a big deal of this. This isn't just a you thing. This happens everywhere. And I'm just...
What kind of a fucking defense is that? What kind of room temp IQ monkey says shit like that? Why are you focusing on what Buffaloes do? This happens everywhere. Well, it shouldn't happen anywhere. And just because it's happening elsewhere doesn't mean we should just ignore it happening here. What the fuck are you saying? That's insane. So why worry about these pedophiles when there's pedophiles in other school districts? Well, fucking throw them all in the wood chipper, dude. What do you mean? No, I gotta be careful. Didn't Techtown say something like that and he got a temp ban? You can't say things against pedophiles on Twitch anymore, I guess. I don't fucking know, man.
Thinking like, yeah, that's not fucking good either. That's even more important to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
How does that make this a non-issue? You just said it was an issue everywhere that isn't talked about.
Because you're ruining people's lives by putting their jobs in danger, by pointing out that they're not reporting crimes against children, and that makes you the bad person. Like, you want these people to lose their jobs. You're a bad person, actually. I am mad.
Yeah.
And just maybe, if the world gets shown that a bunch of random podcasters can start looking at something and get a bunch of people fired or put in jail, maybe it'll set a precedent that everybody else will be like, oh, fuck, maybe I should start doing my job. Or a bunch of podcasters that drink and burp are going to make sure I don't have one.
Mm-hmm. Offenders assemble.
Offenders assemble. Oh, I can't do mine around to school.
They're coming. What is it? A whole bunch of autistic people? They're pissed.
They're really upset.
But how do we know, like, how autistic they actually are? What if they're just, like, saying they're autistic? Oh, they've donated money for autism? Well, that doesn't make them good people. I mean, look, they're focusing on this one school district when this, like, happens everywhere. I have to keep making jokes or I'm gonna, like, roll up into a ball of sieve and explode like a Saiyan.
Now, while we're talking about that, just so I don't lose my train of thought, if there is a Buffalo public school, or the Buffalo, if there's a parent of a child that goes to a Buffalo public school and they're like, hey, you know what? My daughter or my son brought up that something happened at school and I called up the school and I wanted a report done. I wonder if they mislabeled mine. Those parents need to go to any Buffalo district house, Buffalo police district house, and they need to go to the report technician, the front desk, and say, hey, here's my ID. I'm so-and-so. So-and-so's my daughter, kid, whatever. I filed a police report with the school a while back, and I never got a call. I'd like to know, I'd like a copy of the report and just an update if there is one. And you're going to know then, A, if a report was even done for your incident, because if the report technician behind the desk says there's nothing here for your kid, you would probably search it underneath your child's name or your name. If they say, hey, there's no report for your kid, like, period. Well, there you go. There's an incident of the school intentionally not reporting something that you called them to report. And then B, if you...
It's intimidation by scale. You can't solve the problem. Don't even try. It's too big. It's how a lot of corruption is swept under the rug. I just don't understand that mentality from people, right? Like, I get feeling down about, like, oh, I'm just one person. What can I do? But if people are trying to shine a light on things, if people are trying to make a difference, what the fuck is the point in denigrating them? Why do you want to bring them back down to your level? Why are you a misery loves company person who's just like, fuck it, like, you know, like, let's just let everything rot and get worse? Who cares? What kind of a fucking, like, sad ass life is that, dude?
You do get a report, note what is the headline. Is the headline information only? Is it miscellaneous? Is it something that they're trying to hide? Or is it exactly what happened? An assault, you know, some sort of abuse.
On top of that, don't we also have an email address now if you want to shout that out?
takethehighroad@gmail.com. Take the HY road@gmail.com. And that's for any information, like if it's affecting you or you don't know what's going on or you're trying to shine some more light on it, please email that direct email, Take the High Road, and tell us your story, because it is one thing.
Please don't spam it either. Like, don't just flood it with, oh, I heard about this case, here's a news article. Like, this is if you have something that you feel like needs to get out there or would help with this investigation.
If you were there and you witnessed a thing happen, if you are a first person and you saw it happen, or if you heard it from the person that saw it happen, that's it. And it'd be really great if you could give us dates, times, locations, and the names of those people involved.
I think the Buffalo public school system is handling the scrutiny terrific. Really. I mean, did you see what they did on Monday?
Oh my God.
Yeah, their statement?
Oh, no, that was on Sunday. Monday, they had independent auditors go to the administration building and walk around the hallways and try to...
That was the video that we watched. We watched that video, and then the guy in like the yellow sweatshirt got assaulted by one of the administrators and had his phone knocked on the floor and broken. So they're handling this in a stellar fashion that is sure to enamor people to their plight.
To ask people questions, and most people ignored them and stonewalled them, which, you know, I can't really fault that if random dudes with cameras were showing up at my place of work. I don't really blame them for that. But then one gentleman by the name of John M. Palmara in the finance office got so upset that they were asking questions about the Buffalo Public Schools deleting evidence. He said, I know what to do. I'll break their phone that they're recording on and destroy more fucking evidence. Good. What a way to
smart
set a
guy.
precedent and show what you guys are all about. Great fucking work. I love it.
Wild. Untruths.
And get arrested for it.
Actually. Yeah. News hasn't covered that one yet.
True, he did get arrested.
You make an interesting point about their recorded like meetings.
Oh yeah, well, because it was the fact that like they're all available on YouTube. Like they live stream their board meetings. But this one, as soon as Detective High comes out on a podcast that is full of foul people, all of a sudden now they want to do a secret meeting that is not broadcast to YouTube, that the public is not available to go to.
Journalists weren't allowed. They were kicked out. Journalists were kicked out of that exact same closed door meeting, which is fucking wild.
What do you think they might have talked about?
The journalists also said that there was significantly more security at that meeting. They said there's usually like 1 or 2 people, and this time they had like 10.
Oh my God.
So then the journalists went and started interviewing teachers since they didn't have anything else to do. And the teacher they interviewed said, I don't know anything about exactly what Detective High has highlighted, but it wouldn't surprise me because at least in the 20 years that he's been there, there's been a pretty big culture of downplaying or hiding violence and assaults altogether.
When the teachers are finally breaking ranks, to say that out loud, I think that administration's kind of fucked. I hope they are giga fucked. I would like to see some repercussions for the people covering this shit up. You can FOIA that meeting. I'm pretty sure when we were scrolling Donut Operator's Twitter to find like what happened after their podcast, I think he did have like a FOIA request thing in there. I remember reading something about that.
Some people might call that a clue.
There's a culture
A clue?
of downplaying violence and other incidents, like the officers mentioning, in this district, really since I started over 20 years ago.
I also have a FOIA request in that got submitted today because the email that we set up already, somebody has reached out and said that, I'm not going to say his name because we don't have any evidence yet, but allegedly there is a vice principal at a Buffalo School District school that has been moved around almost every year of his career, and he gets constantly moved around due to complaints of sexual assault and being oddly sexual near children.
See, if that happens once, you don't get moved around, you get fired, and you're no longer able to work around children. It's insane that not only has this apparently been covered up, but he's just moved around to different school districts, so it obscures the shit that he does. Like, why are you still keeping this person in contact with children? Why are you still wanting to keep them as a part of your school, like, systems? Why? Why are you doing that?
And he just keeps getting bounced around from school to school. So I have a FOIA request out pertaining to all of the internal records with the Buffalo public school systems.
What?
Yeah, which that stuff drives me fucking crazy because people like it's the people who reply to this stuff, right, on like Facebook, like some of the people that don't like Rich that are like, I don't know why we're even talking about this. This happens with the Catholic Church all the time. Her.
I don't understand that mind. Like, once again, it's bad when it happens in the church and it's bad when it happens in the schools. So if someone is exposing it and wants people harming children held accountable, why would you try and deflect from that? What are you trying to hide, you fucking weirdo?
It's like, well, A, statistically speaking, it's way more likely to happen in public schools.
Also,
B,
that's a good point.
We don't support that either. It's a controversial statement, but I just think that, abuse should be reported and talked about no matter where it happens. It just so...
Hot take! I'm gonna get canceled on Twitter for this later. Sexually assaulting children is bad. You shouldn't do that. Shouldn't sexually assault children. And if you do, you should probably lose your job and go to jail at a bare minimum. Yeah, it's hot take, chat. I know it's crazy to say that openly in public.
happens to be happening here. This isn't a tit for tat kind of game.
What the fuck?
All right, Rich, you want to get to the hard evidence that we've got?
The new evidence that shows exactly what I've been talking about regarding the oh man, my wife looks hot. Hi. We're recording a thing right now. You look hot though.
Get this part in.
Aw, he's so sweet. Oh, she does look
No,
cute.
she doesn't want any part of this. She's got so much anxiety. Yeah. So Nick, speaking of...
Get you a partner like that who's in the middle of talking about something super serious but then sees you and they're like, damn, that's mine. You're hot. All right, back to business.
Of people emailing us and telling us, new and intriguing information that could be brought to light to show a history of, not working with police very well or intentionally mislabeling or even failing to report. I received an email from an individual at a school.
The email jump scare. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know if he's gonna read this. So like, if he doesn't read it, then I'll go back and read it.
And this individual said, "Hey, Rich, you came to my school last year, and you were investigating a school assault on one of our students." This person didn't say exactly who told them that that they were not allowed to talk to me, but this person also had a statement from the student. Oh my god!
This email says delaying a rape kit. What the fuck is wrong with the school?
That was one of the people that she confided in. I forget the actual term that we use for it in policing, but whenever somebody confides their sexual assault to a friend, it's like their first utterance of it happening. That's a big deal. We notate the date and time and what that person was told by that individual, and it grants credence and validates the victim's story, right? Instead of just a he said, she said, there's other people involved, which which is what we want. More eyes, more statements, more voices to solidify exactly what happened. So I'm going to read what this child wrote in a statement, and then I'll go over why it's...
Okay, so he didn't read the email, but the email says, I am a school counselor at Redacted and was told I could not speak to you, so could never provide the statement from a student. Basically, our admin, Redacted, went home to the burbs knowing a girl reported a rape, delaying a rape kit. They never even called you guys until Redacted halfway through the next day. Redacted. The kids said there was video. I'm convinced they never tried to get the video. Also, earlier in the year, a girl was sexually assaulted, groped and fondled by several boys while being pushed against a wall. And my admin never reported it and claimed it was horseplay. She ended up moving to another state with a relative because she couldn't feel safe in the school. These aren't just students to me either. They are my neighbors and community. A quick Google search of my name would tell you that I have dedicated my life to advocating for people, but Redacted years at BPS has almost broken me. Don't even know if these kids will have a counselor next year. That's really funny. that this is like, I don't even understand like what the school thinks they're protecting reputation wise by allowing this shit to continue, right? Like what? Like people talk about like weird rape culture, and I've never bought into like any kind of like men have rape culture, feminist language bullshit. But this is actually like an administration, people who are supposed to be there protecting kids, literally giving into the like, oh, boys will be boys. We don't have to protect these young girls being assaulted. Like what is happening? Why is this happening? Why has no one spoken out prior to this? Why are they trying to cover it up? It's a rape culture within the school administration from both men and women. It's absurd. It's absurd. It's the whole system. Yeah, absolutely. This is like an unironic use of systemic.
Child wrote in a statement, and then I'll go over why it's a big deal.
Just to be clear, before you read the statement, just so I understand exactly what's happening. You investigated this, you solved the case, you closed the case.
Yes.
And this individual at the school, either a teacher, a counselor, whoever, was given this written information by the student and then was told she was not allowed to give it to you, the detective that was actively investigating this assault.
That's correct.
What the
So
fuck,
this is new evidence.
Jesus.
This is new evidence brought in after the fact because the administration withheld evidence intentionally in a sexual assault case.
That's correct.
So this would be failure to report and obstruction of justice?
Yes.
I mean, I would say so.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're all on the same
Or
page.
witness tampering. I mean, I don't know if you really do witness tampering. That's kind of a stretch, but basically evidence was available.
This is like the chick on SVU saying it was okay that she was assaulted because she didn't want to ruin the future of her attacker. It's literally insane. It is insane. If someone attacks you, especially in that manner, they are the ones who made that choice. At that point, their life deserves to be ruined for the choices that they made. That is like an insane thing to think. Good Lord. Good Lord. You know why, Kirsche? Because the pedos have the right politics. It's I always feel like I can't get any more disappointed with the state of things. And then I hear shit like this, and it's like, what do you even say? I'm just glad that this guy is standing up and he's exposing it. And it's shitty that for exposing it, he's getting his character attacked. Like, it's just all insanity, all the way fucking down.
Well, this person wanted to share it with me, and then they were told not to share it with me and not to even talk to me.
It's fucking wild.
And get ready for this. Get ready for this. All right, so I'm going to read it now. If you could please bleep out, I'm not even going to say the names, but please black out the names of those that are suspects, because the names mentioned in here could come up as a part of a new investigation for failure to report. So we're going to leave the names of the suspects out. I'm just going to say like teacher A or just the teacher, whatever.
Okay.
On Tuesday, October 22nd, I told Miss Blank that the victim got raped in the auditorium.
Oh.
She said, I'm not the right person to tell, and she took me to Miss Blank in the office. I told Miss Blank, today, the victim came late to a different teacher's class because she got raped in the auditorium. Miss Blank asked, is there any proof? Which is not what you ask a child when they're reporting this.
Yeah.
The victim's friend stated, yes, there is a video. Miss Blank asked, who was the boy? I said suspect, and she said, okay. She said she would handle it tomorrow. She would handle it tomorrow. I thought she was going to do something or pull us in the morning and talk about it. But then the half of the 7th grade knew, so we told Miss Blank because nothing was done. Miss Blank was in shock and said, give me 5 minutes. We walked away from Miss Blank and the victim started crying. So we went to go look for Miss Blank.
the level of failure presented here is insane to me. Like, if you are someone in a position of power, right? Like you're a teacher or you're a police officer, and someone comes to you to report something like this, your first response shouldn't be, well, is there any proof that happened? Like, yes, you're going to have to open an investigation and like find shit if shit exists, but that shouldn't be like the first fucking thing you say. Because that plants in the victim's mind like, well, if I don't have any proof, then they're just not going to care. And it's not going to matter if I report that something happened to me unless that there is undeniable proof that they can't sweep under the rug. And the fact that these teens even responded with like, yeah, there is a video, actually. And the teacher was like, maybe we'll deal with this tomorrow. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? That always believe the victim until the victim doesn't agree with you? Yeah, it's... This is the kind of shit that makes it so people don't want to come forward and report what happens to them. Like, there's always that dumb bullshit where they're just like, oh, if we hold liars accountable for lying about sexual assault and rape, then victims won't want to come forward. To fuck you! If you've lied about being assaulted or being raped, you deserve the same exact punishment that the person you falsely accused would have gotten. Like, at best, that's what you deserve. And I hate that line of thinking. And then to see these same people who would probably parrot that kind of talking point treating these schoolgirls like, oh, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Like, maybe we'll get around to it eventually. Like, oh my God.
Signed, the victim's friend who made this statement 2 days after. So in case you're not picking up what I'm putting down here, there was an assault on a child. The child made statements to her friend, hey, I got assaulted. The friend goes to...
I'm going to actually pause again before anyone in chat does that like weird, oh, well, you know, since people lie, it's good to ask about the proof. No, I'm going to say fuck you, actually. Because, especially in this instance, they literally recapped this so room temp IQ people couldn't, like, weasel word their way around things. They literally were like, so just to recap, this was something you investigated, that you closed the case, there were repercussions for this rape, and you're just now getting this extra information. And he said yes.
Teachers and says, hey, so-and-so was assaulted.
They'll say teacher A. So teacher A, is there multiple teachers?
No, there's multiple teachers.
Okay, so teacher A is the first one.
Sure. Teacher A is first. Hey, we're going to go to teacher A and we're going to tell her. Teacher A says, oh, this ain't in my job description. Let's go to teacher B, which is fine. Whatever. You go to another teacher. She goes to teacher B. Teacher B says, where's the proof? Do you have any proof? Which is not how you say things.
Correct.
To a child. There's ways that you interview children. This is not one of them.
It's almost like people that work in the education system aren't qualified to conduct their own investigations.
Because they're not even qualified to be there in the first place. The education system has been transformed and taken over by ideologues who don't give a shit about teaching children anything or being there for children. They're there to push ideology and create good little fucking ally soldiers. That's what they're fucking there for.
Mother of God, Nick, you nailed it on the head.
Wow. Fucking crazy. Makes you wonder how well all the investigations they've performed in the past have turned out.
Really activates those fucking almonds.
This is the end? This is like all the movement that ever happened on this case?
Well, I'll go into a little bit what happened afterwards to give it like a full picture. But in this scenario, in this child's statement, so she goes to teacher A, goes to teacher B. Teacher B says, you know, well, what happened? Is there proof? Yeah, there's video. And then says, all right, we'll talk about it tomorrow. No, you fucking don't. you report that shit immediately. Because if there's video going around of that kid,
that video is also illegal
all over school, that's got to get nipped in the butt right away.
Yes.
You can't have that. You've got underage kids doing it. Guess what that's called? There's a term for that.
It's literally distribution of illegal material. And on top of that, you're dealing with a child who is having video of her being assaulted passed around. This is shit that leads to someone taking their own life. And this teacher's like, maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. If I said what I think should happen to the teachers in this scenario, I would be banned.
And it's getting spread around the school.
It's getting shared, and they have but again, 7th grade, going to an adult and saying, "Hey, this just happened." Happened, and there's video evidence that is fucking asinine to go. I'll look into it tomorrow.
Yes, asinine is being nice about it.
Just pure rage of especially your own kids, and then you hear this. It's fucking wild. The first response is,
I could not imagine being the parents of that kid. The unbridled disgust and rage I would feel if I was that parent. I am already fucking mad, and I have no connection to Buffalo or any of these kids. Holy shit.
I'll look into it tomorrow.
So then, after nothing happened, then they went to teacher C, another teacher.
I think they went to a third individual, teacher, whatever. I think it was teacher. And then I believe that teacher, let me just double check. I want to, so in the morning, nothing happened. But then, that following day, half of 7th grade already knew what was going on. So then they went to teacher C and said, "Give me 5 minutes." And that teacher, I believe, was the one that started, notifying school individuals and other things like that, and then got the ball rolling. Thank God.
Right.
So I showed up a day, maybe 2, after.
So teacher C is the one that gathered this statement from the 7th grader and then was told by the administration she was not allowed to work with you or turn evidence over to you.
I'm not sure. I'm just for anonymity's sake. There are 5 people named in this document, and I'm not sure. I don't even want to say that the person that gave it to me is labeled in there or isn't labeled in there. I'm going to give them a little bit of anonymity, just because I don't want their shit to blow up.
True.
Right? The person that gave me this information or that forwarded the complaint may or may not be in this document.
Protect your sources.
Good fucking luck figuring that out. But I did receive it. So, boom. The end result of this investigation, thank God, was that it was determined not to be an assault. We ironed everything out. I don't want to get in, these kids' businesses, but it was basically a very emotional reaction to the videos being spread, embarrassment, etc.
I mean, obviously.
Right? And by the way, these are children. They're scared. They don't know what's going on. Their brains aren't fully developed. They're doing adult activities and recording them, not understanding the repercussions. It was a mess that we sifted through. But because of that mess that we sifted through, that we investigated, because I don't know if people know this, but as a detective, especially when it comes to kids, my job isn't to arrest a 16-year-old or 12-year-old or 8-year-old. My job is to determine if a crime happened, and then also to get these kids assistance, especially when it comes to mental health awareness, and getting them to the Child Advocacy Center, the Family Justice Center, and getting them counseling, which is exactly what happened. We determined that a crime hadn't been committed. We moved forward. We got these kids on both sides help. And everybody is okay. Nobody's in.
What does he mean by we determined a crime hadn't been committed? Is he talking about a generic scenario, or is he talking about this scenario? Because earlier he said that he closed the case, and I'm a little confused because there was okay, it was a hypothetical. Okay, I almost could not perceive breakfast. I got a little confused. You want to add the side tangent? He does have pretty eyes. He has nice eyes. Some generic name, thank you for the 10. When you were 10, you were assaulted by an older kid in your neighborhood. Your parents reported it to the school and police, and the response from both was for you to tell his parents because the adults felt too uncomfortable. I'm sorry you had to deal with all of the adults in your life completely fucking failing you at that point. And I hope you have been able to work through the mental damage that undoubtedly caused you at that time. I don't know how to word it in like a very delicate manner, so hopefully I don't say anything that sounds offensive, but like I'm very sorry you had to deal with that, and hopefully you've been able to work through those issues, dude. That's fucked. It's insane how often fucking adults fail the children around them, dude.
Jail. What do you know? Cops don't just arrest everybody when they show up.
With no help from the school system.
Honestly, I thought that the school was phenomenal. I went there and I worked with them. One of the principals or both of the principals were giving me information. They were calling me up. They were wondering about updates. There were teachers in the school that like wanted answers right away. And the principal was like, hey, listen, our school's upset about this. We're looking for this. We'd like information when you can get it to us. I thought it was phenomenal. And then I get smacked with this. So even when I think that I'm getting treated amazing and I have a great relationship with the people at this school, there's somebody within the school. I don't know who. I don't know who yet. I asked this question. I haven't gotten a response yet, so I'm waiting. Somebody in that school, somebody still was like, don't help the cops. Don't give them this statement. It's going to look like we failed to report, which you did.
Yeah, you did. That's literally what happened.
Like, it was later determined that there was no crime was actually committed. But the school didn't know that at the time. For all the school knew, that could have been a full-blown rape that they were making sure they did not cooperate with your investigation at all.
But it was on video. What do they mean by how is it not a rape if it was on video? I'm a little confused now.
Report it.
Thank you. That is the exact point that I wanted to hit on, and you brought it up before I could. Thank you, Brandon. The point of this whole entire thing is that at the time, this was a very real investigation regarding the assault of a child. So
they found that it was an overreaction due to the video, that it was consensual. Okay, so instead of a rape, it was like consensual underage occurrences, and then like the video was like the illegal part, I suppose.
Oh, how in the world, without knowing anything other than that, than the victim's statement of what happened, and they're now being video passed around the school, would you be like, you know what we should do? We should still withhold this from the detectives who are doing the investigation.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Mind-blowing.
It's just speechless of that idea of like, well, let's delay it and now don't talk to the police. Giving a direct, because as you said, they were told not to work with the police.
Correct.
And that's
yeah, because like, if the school doesn't know if a crime occurred, why would you delay? Why would you try to not work with the police? Why would you not want to give all the evidence to the police? Why would you not want an investigation to happen to make sure if a crime was committed or not? That doesn't make any sense. It's so fucked up because it's like a 7th grader. The kids are like 12, 13. Why are kids that young fucking? I have some bad news for you about what kids have been doing for hundreds of years at that age.
Fucking disgusting.
Welcome to my world. Maybe now Channel 4 can get off my back and they can say, oh, well, I guess there is information. Because let me tell you, the hardest part for me, like as an individual, like if I'm being selfish, right? The hardest part for me so far is knowing the information that I've investigated on these cases, but not being able to share it with the news or you guys because it's part of an investigation that's ongoing, or it's something that I know because of my job and I can't give away too much information because otherwise I could be held accountable for violating the media policies of my department.
I know how this feels. I'm not a detective and I'm not a cop and I don't have anything that's like anywhere near as crazy real world repercussion as what he's dealing with. But I know how this feels, where it's like, I could dispel so many of these like rumors and lies and issues if only I could speak about this, but due to like restrictions or NDAs or like wanting to protect other people, I can't be completely upfront. Like it feels so fucking frustrating when you're like, I know what the reality is, I have proof of what the reality is, but I can't fucking talk about it.
Now this is different. This case is closed. I still haven't given away any information that you couldn't get from a FOIA request on a closed case, no longer open, closed. And this was given to me as a civilian by another civilian. This has nothing, this document that was given to me had nothing to do with me being on the job. I was off. They sent it to my personal email. That's how they got this information to me. They gave this to angry cops, not Detective High. So now I can talk about it. And I know everything about this case because it was my case. But that's the hardest thing that has been, is watching people shit on me on the internet because I can't give them everything right off the rip. You've got to ask for a FOIA request because I'm already on thin ice. I'm already going out and being a fucking whistleblower. I'm already putting, the spotlight on my city and my department.
I mean, you're doing doing it.
I can't do anything more without literally just ruining my reputation with my department and then just going through files and just sending everybody stuff. And then I would completely understand if I was unhinged like that and just gave everything away, that I would be suspended. So
absolutely. I feel for this fucking guy. I know exactly where he's at in a mental space. Like I fucking relate to you, dude. It's a shitty position to be in, and I feel bad for him. But I'm glad that he's tanking all of this fucking nonsense from retards in order to do the right thing.
Can't cross that line.
And you, like, again, you are even make us, like Nick, as you said earlier, you submitted a FOIA request. So did I. We are doing it the right way because Rich is following the rules that he has to follow. And he's like, hey, here... like, you have to do it this way. He's just like, here's how you submit for that. And we have to follow those guidelines. But that's going to be a week to a month to get this shit out, get the ball rolling on that stuff. And it's delay. And unfortunately, with the internet or something like this, 2 weeks on the internet, it's fucking gone. People forget about it. So that's why right now it's, hey, update. Here you go. Roll this out so these people are actually held accountable for their actions or lack thereof actions.
As far as that stuff goes, with the department itself, is it productive? Because I saw a lot of people like calling people within the Buffalo Police Department and stuff like that. Is that the way you would recommend going about it, or is that just going to make things hard for you? Because to my understanding, the Buffalo Police Department is the one that is upset about being stonewalled about this.
So if you want to call somebody and make a complaint, call the Board of Education, call the mayor. If you want to see an investigation that is beyond the Buffalo Police Department, which at this point I believe it should be, right? There's so many moving pieces that the district attorney's office is involved because the schools are ignoring subpoenas by them. Mm-hmm. They're not assisting and they're obstructing investigations by the Buffalo Police Department, and they're also not reporting them, right? When you have the district attorney's office, the Buffalo Police Department, and you could even go with like New York State Bar, like because lawyers aren't responding to subpoenas. There's the U.S. Board of Education. When you have all these things together, you can't have all these individual investigations going on and not talk to one another. Yeah. So in a perfect world, somebody a step above the district attorney's office and the Buffalo Police Department would be investigating this, whether it be the AG's office, the U.S. attorneys, the FBI, the New York State Bar, but the bar is more towards, lawyers that do something incorrectly, not really criminal aspects of it. Even, the AG Pam Bondi's office, the AG, that's where I think where the investigation needs to go. So people like tagging them, emailing them, that I think is where it needs to go. And I think one of the important things, I forget if we talked about it or not, is... Yeah,
I agree, Riz. You said you highly doubt this is an isolated incident as far as school districts are concerned. I definitely don't think it is. And and they read off the statistics earlier. There was 17,000 something calls for the Buffalo area districts, which is 14 calls a day Like the breakdown of the different numbers for what these calls were for, and then they got into the information only incidents and how a lot of schools will hide stuff in those information only. It's ridiculous.
I have family members like the mom and dad of these kids that think that they reported something to the school and that the school did the right thing and reported it to the police. Is those people need to go to a Buffalo Police District station house and request the report with their child's name on it.
Even then, I don't think I would even trust the schools at that point, right? Like, I would report it to the school, but then I would also personally go to the police and be like, I reported this to the school, but I now also want to report it to you.
ID, and then you'll know. Was there a report even done, or was it intentionally mislabeled, or was it done appropriately? And if it wasn't, you feel free to email takethehighroad@gmail.com.
Great idea, by the way.
Well, yeah, who thought up of Take the High Road? Was it Eli?
It was the other. I think that was fucking the people, right, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I suggested it, but that idea came straight from the comment section. It just kind of became the official slogan of all of this.
High Road was taken, so Show was like, I got Take the High Road. I was like, Show, that's beautiful.
It's Take the High Road at gmail.com?
HY. Yep, HY.
It's one of the many, many instances of our army of autists coming in clutch to make sure that this happens.
And I really appreciate them. It was rough the first couple of days trying to deal with this.
It is.
And
it always is.
I made my little video saying, hey, thanks for the support. I appreciate it. By the way, to everybody that's been pooping on me back home, I'm in Boston trying to find the missing children of Buffalo.
Boston.
So, thanks. And that video got a lot of.
Why were the missing children of Buffalo in Boston? I want to know. I want to know more about that story as well. Oh, what's going on? What's going on with that? What's going on with that? We love our autists here. I love my fucking autist army here, dude. Fucking love that shit. I think the one who said glowy might not have been all that off. What? Putting it out there, Buffalo School District. The detective went from hundreds of journos and judges against him to hundreds of thousands of autists on his side. Yeah, like he went through like crazy defamation for them just wanting to cover up all this shit. And they were like, oh, let's try to deter people from looking into our dirty laundry. Why was he under investigation? Why did he headbutt children? Just telling like lies about him. It's absurd. It's absurd. And people like him should get supported. And I'm glad that he is. And I'm glad with my own fucking hit pieces and lies about me, you guys support me as well. Use code Kirsche at GamerSubs for 10% off your order, baby.
A lot of positive comments, and it definitely rubbed my tummy, made me feel a little bit better.
Rub my tummy!
We might have to cut this part, but I just got another email.
Oh?
What'd you get?
One of the directors of the Buffalo Public Schools Safety and Security is a fired Buffalo police officer that was handed the job by Kreiner Cash because he was his driver. The news refused to report on this after the McKinley shooting took place a few years back. He has been investigated internally several times for his treatment of employees. I thought this might interest you. I would really like to remain anonymous.
What the fuck?
And then they sent me several links regarding this.
What the fuck?
Was he fired? Did it say fired Buffalo cop?
It says fired Buffalo cop.
Oh, that's hard. Not a fucking red flag.
Oh.
I mean, it's fairly hard to get fired as a cop in Buffalo. You guys are union, aren't you?
We're union. We just fired a couple people. You gotta mess up pretty good, and when you mess up pretty good, you're gone. Like that.
That, and I imagine there's a lot of people that really want Rich to have been fired over the years, and he's still here. He's still kicking.
Thanks, India Walton.
Whoa, so what next would just be like any worries from you for like before we close this out? What are your worries?
I've got one more. I forgot, but basically a preschool either teacher's aide or teacher, in order to discipline. This is preschool kids.
No.
In order to discipline the kids in preschool, she would put them in the bathroom and turn off the lights, and then put her foot against the door so the kid's gonna get out.
What?
Well, that's fucking
Why?
That's like sensory deprivation. Like that's how you like mess with people's
cruel and unusual
mind.
punishment.
Why would you do
you're
that?
doing this to like a 4-year-old.
this is how like problems this is how problems start, and that's so many different problems with that fucking situation. You have, again, you're shutting a kid in darkness, creating a new fear. Also, then you're going to have the repercussions of, hey, this is an adult I'm supposed to trust. Now you're breaking trust. Now you're not going to you're going to have anxiety around adults. You're not going to trust, or you're going to have confusion of who to trust and who not to trust, and fear as you get older. That is just a world of so messed up to do to a 4-year-old. That's like lasting repercussions.
Yeah, exactly, man.
That person is still, I have their name. That person is still at the school. That person's just not allowed in that classroom anymore.
Wait, they fucking kept, they weren't fired?
They're still in the same school.
They're still around kids?
They're still
I believe the email said they're still an active teacher. They're just not allowed to teach kindergartners anymore. So it's fine to lock kids in the bathroom with no lights as long as they're tall enough to activate the light switch, apparently.
Do you have...
I feel like every time I listen to stories about this, I feel vindicated when I say that teachers not only are retarded for thinking they deserve more pay in current year, but they actually deserve less than what they're already getting. Like, if we had good teachers, yeah, sure, fucking raise their pay. But, like, the fact that so many teachers are like, oh, we don't get paid enough. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Any idea how hard it is to violate the 8th Amendment rights of a kindergartner? Like, I did not have that on my bingo card, but all right.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're both still working at the school, and I have the person's name.
Do we have FOIA requests out for that yet?
No, I only have the person's last name.
Okay, I can write one today.
Okay.
So what is the next, what are any fears that
Millions will FOIA
what are
requests.
your biggest fears with this, like going unacknowledged?
Is that there's no continued investigation. Like, there's no investigation. Right now, the Buffalo Public Schools are saying that they're doing their own third-party investigation, which doesn't mean jack shit to me.
Yeah.
Right? We're getting
a third-party investigation. We're going to investigate ourselves and find that we've done nothing wrong.
They're buying their own lawyer, their own investigator to do an investigation on themselves. And what's going to happen when that investigator finds a criminal aspect to this? Like, failing to report is it's a crime in New York State. It's New York State Penal Code, and I forget what the number is, but it's a mandated reporter not reporting, right? That is a thing. It's a misdemeanor that you can be arrested for, right? So what are they going to find? What are they going to do when they find that a crime has been committed and that people have failed to report?
They're going to label it information only.
They're going to label it information only and bury that shit. So honestly, unless it's the this is, like I said, there's so many moving parts, especially with the DA's office not having subpoenas be responded to, that this is above the Buffalo Police Department. This has to be, at a minimum, the DA's office. At a minimum, the DA's office has to do an investigation.
And they've elected to remain silent so far.
Which is disheartening.
To say the least.
I don't know how anybody could look at this and say, I think that sticking up for kids is going to make us look bad.
Yeah, right? Like, that's what I was saying earlier, dude.
Coming up?
Not for another 3 years, but I got a long fucking memory.
Brother, listen.
Just for a personal note to the DA, there's currently a civil suit that just got settled in 2023 for $10 million. Oh,
wow.
Because a man was sexually assaulted when he was a child. And he was sexually assaulted when he was 11 years old. And what ended up happening with this case in 1978 was...
Where's that guy in chat who said that he got assaulted when he was 10 and nobody fucking did anything about it? Go get your $10 million settlement, King!
He was caught by Buffalo PD receiving acts from an 11-year-old in his car at a park, and the cops arrested him immediately and tried to press charges and have charges pressed, obviously for acts with an 11-year-old.
Obviously.
And what ended up happening was, because this gentleman was connected and had friends, the DA and a local judge received, I forget what you call it, but essentially letters from people vouching for his credibility.
Like character witness?
Character witness. He had character witness letters, and then he was evaluated by a psychiatrist that said he probably won't do it again.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
the DA's office and the local judge decided to not press charges. He then went on to be a sitting board member of the Lovejoy Elderly and Youth Program for years, where he presumably assaulted more people. So DA's office, you can be that DA or you can be the DA that does your fucking job.
True.
Up to you.
Jesus
we
Christ.
would love nothing more than to give huge kudos to somebody for cracking down on this and being the person to blow this wide open. You know, if an investigation actually happened and people lost their jobs or went to jail over shit like this, over, you know, just basic accountability, we would love to just applaud them for doing that. But instead, everybody seems like their immediate action is just to stonewall even harder.
And why is that the immediate reaction? Like, why would the DA participate in that kind of stonewalling? Why does it seem like they're all conspiring together, dude? What the fuck is this?
Pretend they're investigating and attack Rich's character. And if that's the way you want to fucking play this, we can do this all day.
It's pretty much an open offer to anybody that wants to grow a spine and do the right thing.
True.
Everybody in this video right now can build up a person and their career just as fast as we can tear it down.
True.
So if you're going to be the person that steps in and does the right thing, we're going to be in your fucking corner for you getting reelected or promoted to continue doing the right thing.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. You have our full weight, and I guarantee our community's weight behind you too.
This is like similar to what I've talked about when I move back home. Like, I want to get involved in the local politics, and I want to support people who are going to be doing good things in the area that I'm going to be living in. Like, I don't have anywhere near the same size platform or probably the same size income from the platform that any of these guys do, but it's still something that I want to be doing. And it's like, I'm glad that I see other people in my field doing like way more than I am, for fucking sure, based on all of this. But like, they also want to do that. They're like, we want to build up the careers of politicians, of people who want to make change, who want to do the right thing. We want to support people like you. This is what I think is a good thing for content creators to be doing. Like, get involved, be able to use their platform for like actual good things. It's nice. It's nice to see.
Yeah, this isn't just one way, trolling, we just want to attack people. No, we just want the right fucking thing to happen, and we're willing to do whatever's necessary.
Yes.
Especially with kids. Like, anything with children, special needs, anyone that needs help, doesn't have a voice, that is our job, like, to protect them, to help them, to guide them. They are our future.
Well, I'm getting the look, boys.
Okay. Yeah, you, Rich, thank you.
Do you look fat? No, you don't look fat. You look adorable. You're not a fat sausage. I'll help you tie them. We're closing right now. You're welcome. She's
so
pretty
cute.
and she deserves a night out because she's been stressed because of my life, and I also haven't seen her a bunch, so I gotta give the woman props. She's been amazing through this.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for sharing all that.
Fucking partners of content creators having to deal with all of the shit and fallout that content creators have to deal out. Like, when I do start dating, and if I do find a guy that I want to be with and we decide to be long-term together, right? Like, I'm not going to introduce your new father to you immediately, Chad. Like, I want to make sure he's not going to just, disappear from milk one day. But I will introduce him to you eventually. Like, that's my plan. I'm not going to be fucking hiding a guy that I care about. That's not my shtick, okay? But once I introduce him, and he's going to know all about my job at this point, he's going to have to know everything that comes with that. He's going to be an attack vector. He's going to get doxxed. He's going to get harassed. He's going to deal with people trying to attack him and denigrate him in order to get to me. And I feel bad that that's something that someone who's going to date me in the future is going to have to deal with. Like, I don't want them to have to deal with that, but I feel bad that that's something that is just unavoidable as like a public figure. You're going to have to teach him slurs, too. I mean, hopefully I won't have to teach him. He'll just come pre-built with his own, Man on stream! Oh, my God. When is Daddy coming back home, Mother Kirsche?
the updates. And Nick, awesome job of your own personal research and going above and beyond. And that goes for all the guys. Just really Twitter, social media, X, whatever you want to call it. All y'all have been stepping up and really getting the message out there. And it's awesome to see. And I am super proud of you all. And same for the community. Y'all are crushing it. Y'all are forcing people to look at this shit and acknowledge it. So thank you to each and every one of you.
Hell yeah.
And I've never seen anybody on the fucking receiving end of a fat electrician tism research hole. And frankly, it's terrifying, and I'm glad we're friends.
Yeah. Right. Hold up that book you just pulled out.
Yeah, he's good. Forget binders full of women. He's got binders full of shitty school administrators, man.
He got a tracker keeper of bullshit.
I am so far up the school district's ass. If they open their mouth, I'm going to use them as a telescope, okay? I'm fucking all over it.
Nick has pink eye.
Ew.
Oh, and what these poor bastards don't even know is it's only just begun. We just gave them a taste. We're about to go knee deep.
Oh,
I love it. Oh, I love it.
This is just the tip so far.
Just
the tip, baby.
Well,
take that, investigative journalists.
We're the new journalists now.
We got a fat, angry electrician.
Channel 4, we have a Hulk.
People listen to you because of your job. I have this job because people listen to me. We're not the same thing.
Cody, you want to close it out, you beautiful boy?
Everyone, thank you for coming to another special episode of the Unsubscribed Podcast. I was joined today by Angry Cops, that electrician, Eli Double Tap, Brandon Herrera, myself, Donut Operator. Thank you so much.
Oh, that was a really good video. I'm gonna link their video. Please give them like likes, comments, fucking push them in the algorithm. I know their platform is like super fucking giga large in comparison to mine, but like any more eyes on this, any more traction, all of it is good, all of it is great. It's like even if you already care about like the future and how children are gonna be brought up and like the way that the school system has been transformed over the decades, like even if you care, once you have children of your own, I'm sure that mindset like catapults even further.